So this is an example of one of our standard enhanced forecasting dashboards. What we do at Sugar is we've spent over 20 years talking with customers around what is the typical types of data that's important to them. And so as part of the platform, we provide a number of standard reports that you can utilize to get those quick insights from day one. But we also have that flexibility to build your own reports and use, business intelligence type tools to further drill down and, make these reports your own as well, and change them and the parameters that are important to you. So I have a few reports that I'll run through of you, and we'll start with this one on the left-hand side of here, which is our forecast report that's comparing the current versus the prior quarters in that report. If you have a look at the first bar of the year, we have 2024 in Q2. What this report is showing us is over the course of the last year, and we're using our financial quarters here, we can see how our pipeline looked like from quarter to quarter. Because we're tracking that historical data in the system, we can see exactly throughout the year how our pipeline changes and expands over time. This is a really good example of where we can see our pipeline is weak and where it's strong in different areas. So we can see Q2 of 2024 was decent, but we can see that the Q4 period, which is at the end of the year, when everyone's scrambling to get our deals in, it goes right up, right? Because our process of year might be that we've pushed things or things have slipped from Q3 into Q4, and we've probably we could have incentivized these type of deals to, get greater incentives to close more business. But we can then drill down into these reports to understand the underlying data to see why is it that in Q4 we've closed significantly more than the previous quarters. And as we get more and more data, we could then go and compare 2025 Q4 down the track to see, is every Q4 the same? Are we closing typically more in Q4, and understand then why is it the case that we're always closing so much in that particular quarter? We also have a concept of funnel velocity and revenue. This is a really key report that a lot of our customers use, and this is specifically around average time that your deals are spending in each stage of your pipeline. So if you have a look at this report, what we can see is the longest time in our pipeline is around prospecting. So we're spending 33 days in prospecting. Average, we're spending 7 days qualifying. And we can see that we really have a gap or a bottleneck in our process of year where we can see that on average, we're spending 73 days finding the right decision makers as part of our deal process. That's a really big problem because identification of those decision makers really should be a lot earlier in the pipeline, because we need to understand the process around how does this customer buy from us. It's really important because if we're not talking to the right people, it's really hard to align in terms of making sure that this is going to go ahead. Are we speaking to the right people and so forth? So in this, we can then drill down into this particular stage and understand who are our salespeople that are contributing to this being a specific problem for us. And this is where the enhanced forecasting doesn't just show you the numbers, but it allows you to then solve the problem. What is it that's, why is it taking us this long? And then over time, monitor this. And then even if you'd like to track over time, how this improves as well. Are we getting it down to 60 days and then 50 days? And so we're getting better and better at this. And sooner or later, you're getting a lot better at this. You're closing more business. The system is allowing you to coach your team, and you can identify those quick problems. I'll pause there. I feel Trevor Rogerson has a question.
Yeah, no, I can just see that's a perfect example for how day one using something like this enhanced forecasting, it's going to tell you a story about your pipeline that, like you mentioned earlier, takes you away from that gut feeling to, look, this is your pipeline. This is how it's performing. This is where the problem is. And I think in that example is IDing the decision maker. That's where, as a sales leader, you go in and you can have a conversation where earlier in the sales process, that becomes a required field within your Sugar, using the process definitions to say, we need to have this filled in before you progress it from one stage to the next. Next thing, you're going to see the overall velocity of your deals increase. You're going to see those 73 days come down. That's going to dramatically increase your first communication to closing a deal. So I think for anybody, if you were to apply this to your pipeline, a lot of the gut feeling you have about stages and where you're maybe stalling on deals, this is just going to tell you the factual story of what the CRM is seeing off the data you're putting in. So it's a powerful tool. I showed it to somebody on a demo recently, and it blew them away that it had the ability to do this.
Yeah, thanks, Trevor. It's definitely a really good value in terms of being able to understand where the business is at. Now, all of these reports as well are fully configurable, and so I'm going to quickly hop to another report. So this is the dark mode that we support in SugarCRM. If anyone wasn't familiar with it, you can run your SugarCRM in a dark theme or a light theme. So we've got that accessibility in mind. So you can also view things. Like me, I like to see things in slightly a darker format. This report is actually drilling down into that report so we can see some of the underlying metrics and different fields that we can use to build out this report. This is a report that shows us our pipeline creation trends over time. So slightly different to the one that we've been looking at. What this is showing us over here is in this bar over here, we've got 2024 October, we've got then November, we've got then January, and then we've got February. So this is showing us the last 4 months. And of course, I've actually filtered this specifically just to show us the last 4 months, so we don't have too much data to use in our demo to that. But what this is telling me is that in October, I had $3 million of pipeline in total, including the opportunities that I've closed won and closed lost. I can see that my pipeline in November had dropped, and I can see as we're progressing through the Christmas period, I can see that it's dropped, and I can see in February it drops as well. So again, just like the reports that we were showing earlier, we can see that towards the end of the year, the pipeline is dropping. But not only can I see that, I can also compare how many opportunities are making up that pipeline. So I can see there's 104 opportunities that make up that value. There's 96 opportunities that make up that value as well. And so we can also overlay information into this report to see how this actually compares to numbers of opportunities as well. These data tables over here, you can also you've got that flexibility to go and change a lot of available details over here. So I can go and add any of my standard or custom fields on my opportunities, and a lot of them are standard fields that you can add. But also, because this is using some advanced business intelligence type tools, we're also doing automatic calculations on things like what's the average age of your opportunity? How does this opportunity compare to your typical opportunity length? We've got average deal size. We've got a whole range of calculated fields, like, for example, how many days in the stage. If I wanted to see that, I could see that type of data there, and I can overlay that onto the report. So we've got all of these automatic calculated fields that you can use to gather more insights. And these calculations are not limited to just what we have in the platform. You can actually go and configure your own fields and add your own calculations as well. So you've got that ability as well to actually build in your own formula fields, if you like. So you've got that extra capability. So think of spreadsheets, but a lot more visual, a lot more live. These can be live queries that actually update in real time. And it's shared across your organization, and you can access these.